sum of those perfect square, and you have to output the sum. What is the result? You have to output the summation value. So this is what we have discussed. Let's wait whether it will open or not. Check. So my workspace is getting ready. So what is the task now? First, I will have some set of elements or list of elements like 1, 2, 3, something. Some elements are present in my list. What you have to do, you have to identify which element is perfect square. If the element is perfect square, you have to perform summation of these elements. Now, how to do this? In this list, at every iteration, consider one element. In the first iteration, take the first element and check whether this number is perfect square or not. How to say whether a number is perfect square or not? If I perform square root of the number, if I get a single value without any decimal points, if I get a whole number, then I can say this number as perfect square. How to check this? If I perform square root of 1, if I am matching normal square root of 1 with floor value, what is the result of floor? What is the result of floor? So floor means down, lower bound type 1 ma. If I apply square root of 1, again you will get 1. So floor of 1 is 1. In the same way, if I apply square root of 2, what will be the value? Value will be 1.414. What is lower bound of that 1.414? The value is 1. So if I perform square root of 2, double equal to floor of square root of 2. Floor of square root of 2. Then what will be the values? Square root of 2 is 1.414 is not equal to floor of square root of 2. What is the value? The value is 1. So in this way I can compare whether the given number is perfect square or not. For all the perfect squares, these two values will be same. That means floor of square root of the number is equal to normal square root of the number. So now I'm using this condition to check whether my number is perfect square or not. In this list, what are the perfect squares you can able to see? 1 is a perfect square. Again, next 4 is a perfect square. Next 12 is not perfect. 13 not perfect. Again 25 is the perfect square. So what is the value I have to do? So 1 plus 4 plus 25. So you have to print sum of perfect squares. That means 1 plus 4, 5. 5 plus 25, the output is 30. This is what we are expecting. First, we will write one function for this perfect square, checking whether the number is perfect square or not. I'm taking this complete one as one module or one function, that is for checking perfect square, is perfect square or not. For checking perfect square, I'm taking one function, and for performing summation, I'm considering second function. I'm just dividing the functionalities so that I can able to reuse this functionality in some other function or in some other place. For that reason, I'm separating these two things. So what is the purpose? The first function is to check whether the given number is perfect square or not. Second function is to perform sum of the perfect squares. So this is the task. Now, firstly, we will write function for perfect square. Define is perfect of. So I'm sending some number. Now I have to check whether n is perfect square or not. How to check whether n is perfect square or not? If square root of n double equal to floor of square root of n. If these two are same, then I can say if floor of n is equal to floor of square root of n is equal to square root of n, then I can say n is perfect square. So I can return, I'm just returning 1 for positive case. Else, so if it is not 2, else I will return 0. That's it. So again here, square root and floor related to which module? These are not readily available in Python. You have to import one module. What is that module? Import math. So math is the module. In math module, we have square root. So math dot square root. So in the same way, floor is also a function of math. So math dot floor and math dot square root. Let's run this. This is perfect square successfully executed to check whether a number is perfect square or not. Next, what is the next task? We have done this first task. This first task was completed. Next task, what is the next task? You have to identify some of these perfect squares. So if you thought one number is perfect square, what you have to do? You have to simply add it to the sum. Initially take some value as 0. 0 plus 1. It will becomes 1. Again, in later point, you thought 4 is perfect square. So simply add that 4 to the sum. So all these are intermediate results for sum. Next, in later point, you think that 25 is perfect square. So simply add the 25 to this number. So you will get 30. This is what we are going to do now. So now define sum of perfect square of. So what we will send? We will send one list. So I'm taking that list name as L. Now Initially, I'm taking some value to 0. I already told you that for performing any summation, we have to initialize some variable to 0. For I in L, that means for each element in list, what we have to do? First, we have to check if here I'm simply calling is PS of I. What is PS of I? Is PS of I is a function which will check whether your number is perfect square or not. If the number is perfect square, it will return 1. What is if of 1? 1 means true case. So in condition place, if you get 0, it will be considered as false case. Other than 0, it will consider as true case. Not only if conditions, it will works for loops, while loop, everything. So if the number is perfect square, that means if I get 1, then what I have to do? Simply you have to sum up the number to sum. So what I am doing, I am simply performing sum up of the number. So I am doing this task. Every time if I saw any number as perfect square, I will simply add that number to sum. After completion of all the iterations, after completion of all the elements in the list, I will get the sum of the perfect squares. So else case. Else means simply no need to bother about the other numbers. So don't bother about it. Simply perform summation. I mean here simple if condition is sufficient. Next. So after completion of your for loop iteration, what we have to do? Simply print the sum value. Sum of perfect squares in the list are so let's run this one also now. So I'm just calling sum of perfect square of. So here we have considered one list 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 25. That gives the same list 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 25. Let's check whether we will get 30 or not. So sum of perfect squares in the list are 30. So what is in the question, which values they have given? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Let's check for this. The output, expected output is 14. Whether we are getting the same output or not. Let's check. Sum of yes of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. So sum of perfect square in the list are 14. Got it? Any doubts here? Any doubts? Next, moving on to the next question. Now, clear is the program is clear or not? Do you have any doubts? Next. Look at this program to find the minimum scalar product of two vectors. So what is minimum scalar product of two vectors means you have to perform dot product on two vectors. Here let's see here. Here we have two arrays. So I have three values in first array and three values in second array. Next, what we have to find out, we have to perform dot product on these two vectors and we have to output the minimum scalar product. Here what they are asking, they are not asking for us, they are not asking to perform scalar product. They are asking to print minimum scalar product. So how we will get a minimum scalar product? Let's see the values 135241. Let's consider here. The values are 1, 3, 5 in first array, in second array 2, 4, 1. 135 241. Let's perform dot product of these two vectors without any change. 1 into 2, 1 into 2 plus 3 into 4, 3 into 4 plus 5 into 1. What is the answer for this? 1 into 2, it's 2, 2 plus 4, 3 into 4, 12 plus 5 plus 5. So the value is 19. So what is the value? The value is 19. So let's rearrange the numbers. I'm keeping the first array as it is 135. This is first scalar. Next go with some other 135. Let's change the order. 4, 1, 2. I'm changing the order of second vector. Now we will perform multiplication. 4 into 1 plus 3 into 1 plus 5 into 2. What is the output here? 4 plus 3 plus 10. 17. So let's consider some other type. So 135. So in next vector, what we will do means we will change again the position 1, 2, 4. 1 into 1 plus 2 into 3 plus 5 into 4. So what is the value? 1 plus 6 plus 5 is 20. So we are getting 27. Let's see some other possibility. The other way we can consider is 135 and let's take in decreasing order of second vector. So 1 into 4 plus 3 into 2 plus 5 into 1. So 4 plus 6 plus 5. What is the value we got? We got the value 15. So we have considered 4 different scalar products. In the 4 different scalar products, I got minimum scalar product at this stage. How I got? If I consider first vector numbers in increasing order and second vector numbers in decreasing order, then I got minimum scalar product. So what is the way I have considered the elements? So the minimum scalar product is 15 here. Let's see here how they have calculated the least element with highest element of the second vector. The first least element with highest element. Next least element, next higher element with next list element. In that way they have considered. So what we have to do? So what we have to do first, if you have two vectors v1 and v2, first consider first vector and sort all the elements in ascending order. What you have to do, you have to sort elements in ascending order. If they are not in ascending order, try to try to place them in ascending order. In the same way, consider second vector, and on second vector sort elements in descending order. What you have to do, you have to sort elements in descending order. So the so in this way. Now perform multiplication at each index position. That means first vector first element is multiplied with second vector first element. Next, plus first vector second element with second vector second element, plus the first vector third element with second vector third element. So after performing multiplication, you have to add up all the values. Then you will get the final result. So this is how you have to perform scalar, first index position with first index position value in second vector. This is how you will perform normal scalar product. But in the program or in the problem, what they have given that you have to identify minimum. What they are telling, you have to identify minimum scalar product. What you have to do, you have to perform minimum scalar product. So for that, what we have done, for that reason we have considered, we have first sorted the given list. In which order you have sorted? One list should be in ascending order and the other list should be in descending order. Then you will get least or minimum scalar product. You if you place the first list in ascending order, you have to place the second list in descending order, or vice versa also. That means if you place first list in descending order, you have to place second list in ascending order. Let's see how we will do this. So I'm writing everything inside a function, ma. Minimum scalar product. Minimum scalar product of two vectors. Let's consider v1 and v2. So in Python, we can consider either list or tuple to place these vectors, but we generally don't use tuple because we can't able to perform any changes on tuple, because tuple is immutable. What do you mean by immutable? We can't able to change the tuple values once we have defined. So tuple, string, all these are immutable. What do you mean by immutable? If you once define a tuple, you can't able to perform any changes. In the same way, if you consider list, what happens in the list? In the list, if you want to perform any changes, you can able to perform it at any level. So that list is considered as mutable data structure. What is list? List is a Mutable data structure. What does it mean? Once if you define the list, you can able to perform changes, modifications, or you can able to add the value, append the value, or delete a value uh, in the list, but we can't perform the same things in the tuple. So in this application we have to consider only list. Why don't we consider set? Ma'am, we also have set. Why don't we consider set to maintain these elements? Because set does not preserve insertion order. I have explained you about all these things in the first or second class itself. So set does not preserves insertion order. So if I perform sorting, it's a meaningless. I can't able to perform sorting on set. Even though if I perform sorting, it won't be available in that sorted order. So నాకు ఆ sorted order లో available గా ఉండదు. So it is meaningless to sort a set. So the perfect data structure for this type of application is list, because we need to perform sorting in between, so that we are going to update the list. So if we are updating the list, we can't able to update tuple. So that's why I'm taking list. Now I have vector v1 and v2. Now what we have to do? First, what is the first step we have to do? First, we have to sort. We have to sort v1 and v2. So v1 dot. So in list we have sort function. Sort. So now v1 is placed in ascending order. So if I place v1 in ascending order, in which order I have to place v2? I have to place v2 in reverse manner. That means in descending order. So if I perform sort, if it will place the values in only ascending order. So now what is the desired one? I want to place the values in decreasing order. So in order to place it, I have a property in this sort function, that is reverse. If I make this reverse to true, so by default, reverse will be in false statement. If you don't give any value inside the sort, it will consider reverse value as false by default. By default, which value it will consider, ma? By default, it will consider reverse value as false. So if you explicitly place reverse equal to true, what happens means you will get the value in descending order. So now I have performed sorting on both the lists. Now what you have to do, you have to start, you have to start multiplying the two vectors for so okay, let's take either you can consider I value as index ante మీరు for I in range 0 to length of v1 అన్నైనా తీసుకోవచ్చు, or you can consider element 1 and element 1 of first list and second list అలా అయినా parallel గా కన్సిడర్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. Let's go with the second one, and I also show you considering index consider చేసి ఎలా రాస్తాము అనేది కూడా చూపిస్తానమ్మా, by modifying the same. So I'm considering first element, I mean each element of list 1 and list 2. That means I indicates the v1 list value and j indicates v2 list value. If I want to pack this, which function I have to use? In order to pack this, which function I have to use? I have to use zip function. I already told you in the previous class, if you use diff function, then you can able to pack ij values with v1 and v2 values. ij లోకి v1 v2 values కరెక్ట్ గా ప్యాక్ అవ్వాలి, కరెక్ట్ గా సెండ్ అవ్వాలి అంటే యూ హ్యావ్ టు యూస్ either zip function or map function. Next, what you have to do, sum equal to I into j, sum equal to sum plus, because you have to restore the previous sum value also, so sum plus equal to I into j. So here I am using sum, variable sum. So what we have to do before entering into the for loop, first we have to initialize some value to 0, then only I have to use sum plus equal to I into j. Otherwise what happens, some garbage value will be outputted. If you don't initialize sum, the garbage value will be placed in sum. So after completion of this for loop, what I am printing, I am simply printing print minimum scalar product of given two vectors or given two lists is sum. Next, that's it. Let's run this code, shift enter. Next, min underscore sc underscore product of, what is the first vector that we have considered, 3 5 1, and what is the second vector we have considered, 2 4 1. So what is the minimum scalar product for these values, ma? For these values, which value we got? We got it as 15. Let's check whether we will get 15 or not. See, we got 15. So let's go and check with some other values. Scalar product of 3 4 5 1 9, something like this, comma, and second set. But remember, here you have to take equal length vectors. 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay. So minimum scalar product of given two vectors is 2 6 4 6 0. Got it? So this is one way of doing. I mean, by using zip function, we have find out the minimum scalar product. The second way, what is the second way? I told you the second way is by using index positions. I will also show you how to write index position. The only change that you have to made is in for loop. For I in range, so always my list index value starts from 0 to n minus 1, so length of v1. So here instead of I have to take each and every element, I have to use index position. So v of I and v2 of I, the first element with first element of second vector, second element with second element of second vector, third element with third element of second vector, in that way. Let's copy this. Did you understand both the codes? In both the cases, I have placed v1, that means first list in ascending order and the second list in descending order. Okay. Next, what we have done in this particular function, I have used GIF method or GIF function to pack two elements. For suppose if I not use this GIF function here, what happens? I will get unpacking problem. What happens? Too many values to unpack. Got it? It is not properly packed. అంటే కరెక్ట్గా V1 ఐకి V2లో వాల్యూస్ జేకి అలా వెళ్ళవు. ఏమవుతుంది అంటే V1 అంతా ఒకసారిగా కన్సిడర్ చేస్తుంది, V2 మొత్తం ఒకసారిగా కన్సిడర్ చేస్తుంది, అండ్ J ఐటమ్స్ కోసం వెతుక్కుంటూ ఉంటుంది. సో దట్ we will get this value error. So in order to overcome this value error, which function I have to use? I have to use either GIF function or map function. For suppose మీకు ఈ GIF function ఇలా గుర్తులేదు. So what is the next option? You can use index values. How to get index value in increasing order means you can use range function. Range varying from 0 to length of V1. So here always in range function we have to give starting index position to end index position plus 1. So up to which position I have to give? I have to give from starting to end position plus 1. So for that reason I have taken a value 0 to length of V1. So length of V1, what this function gives, tells you, this length function will gives you the count of elements in that particular list. So as I'm starting index, so how many elements we have in this list? How many elements we have in this list, ma? I think you can able to see this. How many values you can able to see here? 3, 5, 1. Totally 3 values. So 0 to 3. So what are the index positions for this? For 3, the index value is 0. For 5, the index value is 1. For 1, the index value is 2. So I will get values from 0 to 2. అర్థమైందా? అందుకనే మనం 0 to length of V1 అనేస్తే సరిపోతుంది. And we have simply considered the value at that particular index position, and we have multiplied it, and we have added this intermediate result to sum. So if you don't remember this GIF function, the other way to do this program is in this format. Any doubts in this program? Any doubts in this program? Please respond. I think you can able to write a program to find smallest and largest elements in an array. Can you able to write this program by yourself or not? To find smallest and largest elements in the given, in place of array, consider it as list. Can you able to do this task or not? Say either yes or no. Can you able to do this or not? If you can't able to do this, I will explain you. If you can do this, I will just move on to the next question. Please respond. Can you able to do this or not? I have to consider this silence as you can able to do this. Yes. How to find out the smallest element in an list? In your Python, we have min-max functions also. You can use that min-max function. Like for suppose, let consider list equal to something like 1, 2, 3, some numbers I'm just typing. So let consider this is list. What is L list? List is 1, 2, 43, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the elements present in the list. If I want to find out minimum of the list, I have min function. So you can able to use min function in the same way you have max function in Python. So by using min and max functions are uh, Python main function. So there is no need of calling with some object name dot alakale directly మీరు ఆ ఫంక్షన్ కి లిస్ట్ ని ఇన్పుట్ ఇస్తే you will get min and max values. So this is the simple way to find out the smallest and largest element in the array. So the smallest, how you will get the smallest element? By using min function, you will get the smallest element. In the same way, how you will get the maximum element, largest element? Simply by using a function called max. You can use a function max to print maximum element. Got it? Next, moving on to the next question. Program to print all distinct elements in an array. So what is the program? For suppose they will give you some list. You have to identify which element is distinct. That means you have to print all the distinct values as the output. For suppose in my array I have values like let's consider a list. I have some values like 1, 2, 3, 1, 12, 3, 1, 5, 3, 2. So let's consider I have a list in this format. So what are the distinct values in this list? What are the distinct values in this list, ma? 1, 1, 2, 3, next 12. Again 3 is repeating, so I should not repeat it. 1 is also repeating, so ignore it. Next 5. So these are distinct values. What are the distinct values in this list, ma? 1, 2. Let's consider L. In the L list, I have 1, 2, 3, 12, 3, 1, 5, 2, 3. So next, I have to print the distinct elements in the list. That means I have to print only one time. If even though if I have duplicates in the list, I have to ignore that duplicate. I should not print duplicates in the list. So I have to print only one occurrence of each element. So what is the output I should get? The output I should get is 1, 2, 3, 12, 5. Let's see the question here. For suppose here they have considered the array size as 9 and they have inputted array elements as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here 2, 3, 4 is repeated again. So we will just ignore these elements. So which elements we will keep? We will keep only 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So how to do this task? How to do this task, ma? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone in the class? How to do that? So think about this program. We will do this program in tomorrow's session. Okay. So what is the task given for you today? You have to list all the elements. You have to list all the elements. Then you have to check whether any element is repeating in the list. If any element is repeated in the list, what you have to do? You have to simply ignore the second repetition or third repetition. You have to simply ignore the duplicates. You have to print only a unique value or distinct elements in the list. Now distinct on the then print. If it is duplicate, simply ignore that extra value or duplicate value. This is what you have to do. Understood, ma? Any doubts in today's program? Any doubts in is perfect? How to find out whether a given number is perfect square or not? Summation of perfect squares, minimum scalar product. How to find minimum scalar product? Here we have explained you two different ways to perform this minimum scalar product. Any doubts in your? Any doubts in these programs? Okay, ma. If you don't have any doubts, I will stop the session. See you next time.